Oi. Flat Earth British, Martin Liedtke speaking. Welcome peeps to the Great Flat Earth British think tank on a belated Flat Earth Day night special. Okay, and it will be special. Okay, I will make it so. So it's awesome to see you guys, it really is. Thanks for popping by. What we're going to be looking into in this presentation, this post tonight, it's quite mind-blowing, all of this, so much of it as well. But the first document, or first book, according to the author, is one of the most important documents to come out of antiquity. The reason being is it holds on an alternative history to antediluvian events. Okay, the whole book is about the Phoenicians, okay, who, according to the narrative, are the first after said Noah's event. Why? Because Noah is a Phoenician. Not only that, according to this, Noah is half man, half fish. Okay, there's a race of half man, half fish, which we'll corroborate in another book, and they are called the marine demons. Okay, there's a lot in this post, guys. It's going to be an effort for me to get all this information. After reading this, I've been wondering how to convey some of this information. This will be fragments of the past pieced together by our good selves, okay, in the Great Flat Earth British think tank. So please do contribute your thoughts to everything that I'm going to propose. Disclaimer, this is just me and you guys decoding antiquity. This is a valuable text, okay, and what it says corroborates a lot of what we know already. It really does. These are the sort of things it talks about. Crazy good. Now, my favourite is the last chapter, which is Zoroasterism, or Zoroaster, which talks about the mind and the psyche, and it talks about the manifestation. It talks about, in fact, our true place here and purpose and what we are. And for such an ancient text, it talks about all nature being in a matrix and insight more besides. It's quite mind-blowing. But before then, okay, the premise to this book is highly interesting. We're just going to skip through that lightly, and then we're going to look at what it says. So this is the Chaldean accounts, okay, from Fragments, which are rare, which talks basically is the Noah narrative. But what I'm finding, guys, is I was thinking that all of these ancient cultures were referring to one singular event. Now my mind tells me, no, this is not one singular event, okay, this is multiple events over time. I'll explain. Now, other things in this book is they found giant palaces buried in mud. They talk about the reigns of the gods and how long the demigods, which ones. All the names you wouldn't recognize. They have Viking gods. They have, you know, like Thor hanging out with Kronos and Osiris. You know, they're all in the same gang. Okay, they're all different personifications for the same entities with multiple names. Okay, it's highly sinister, some of this. The whole book is tainted in ancient magic. Okay, it really is. It talks about the Phoenicians' narrative for creation. Okay, very similar to Kabbalah. I seen parallels as soon as I started reading. I thought that sounds like the Kabbalah. In fact, it sounds like quantum mechanics, where quantum mechanics stole it from the Kabbalah. So I thought that was really interesting. But they talk about basically, excuse me, there's so much, flying people, fish people. Okay, there's a god, okay, or a dude who lives in a lake in Armenia, okay, after the flood, and his name's Oannes. And Oannes, okay, he downloads information to humanity, all sciences, literature, information to start again from a Merman, who's a Phoenician in this book. It talks about the Gnostics having their literature fucked around with and faked. Flying people, as I told you. We get to find out what the Tower of Babel was about in this book, and what it was for. That's interesting. More about fish people and its incredible insight all the way through. We're going to look at that. Now, why do I talk about floods so much, and why do I talk about Noah, is really beyond me, actually. Although I'm living in a city where it's really badly flooded. We've been hit with one nasty ass storm after the other, which hasn't finished yet. And I posted yesterday on my Facebook a video of me in my local river, which is about half a mile that way, which had burst its banks and it was flood. It's like everything was going under. So people were saying to me, is there a reset ongoing, Matt? Do you think if we just like basically win the war and bust their balls that they're going to reset us because they've got no choice? Don't know. Yeah, I feel the same as you guys. I feel exactly the same as you, but you know, look what's happening, guys. Yeah, they're going to have forced vaccines now, aren't they, for everyone? You can trust what they're pumping into your children in the future as well. You know, something that will be activated, something with heavy metals in it, with 5G. We're going to be doing that, are we? Nope. Okay, whatever. That can't happen. So we're going to be looking into... Also in this book, they talk about the Arkites. No, it is a race called the Arkites, okay, and they're called the Techites as well, which introduced technology. Book's freaky. We're going to look at an old map that I found. It's an upside down map, which gives us clues to where they might be, where they might go, or giants. The Hyperborean, guys, the Hyperborean. What a sweet map, mind blower. But it's upside down, so it takes some decoding. It's very, very early, okay? As in ancient. From an older map, okay? No. And we're going to look into the Flemish Renaissance artist Jan Van Eyck, because he's basically mind-blowing. If you look at my wall behind me, that one there, third from the bottom, a couple, next to the hat right there. That's a Van Eyck. We're going to be looking at this groovy dude because he paints like basically reset. He paints like it's a photograph and there's something else going on. Really mind blowing. We'll look at that. Images of the day and fuckloads. Besides, just going to spew my brain out at you with love, obviously, and gratitude and peace. Okay. Good to be back. Happy. Very happy, huh? Go and get one. And I might get my happy hat. Go on. Let's play happy hats, shall we? Go on. Anyway, that's my intro. Not too much of a rant. So this document's going to be difficult to explain. I've read it all, and I was just thinking of a way to convey it to you, because it's so much mind-blowing stuff. So we're just going to skip through the most juiciest bits, give you the book, link it up in the description box below this video, click it. You can read it for yourself. It's a mindfuck to read, guys. You're going to love it. So excited. We get some cracking usage and discovery age on a great flat earth British team think tank, and this is no exception. Okay. Yeah, bitch a little. So here it is, guys. And it is these guys here. These are not, you know, your normal contemporaries. What they go on, you know, your Justinians and your Aristotles and your, you know, Pliny, the Elder or the Younger. You know, the ones they usually rely on for Greek and Roman bullshit narratives. These are completely alternative. This guy's in trouble with the academia. Okay, it's not going down popular. He thinks it's the most important works ever out of antiquity, and it's from Asian fragments of the Phoenicians, which are very, very mysterious, and little is known about them, even in academia, guys. I think the Flat Earth British think tank, the Great Flat Earth British think tank, knows more about the Phoenicians than fucking academia at this stage. Anyway, so maybe not, maybe people are doing it as a thesis, but you know what I mean. So Sacronathio and Barusius and Abadenus and Megathenus and Manithio are the writers of the Chaldean events, which is, as you say, Phoenician, the Hermetic creed, okay, the old chronicle, the later Colus of Aristophanes, so his gang. Pretty trippy dude, apparently. And the Turanian Annals and the Oracles of Zoroaster, or Zorro, who makes the sign of the Z. Okay. And the Preface of Hanno. Hanno was King Tyre, And he has a little bit of a discourse going on, letters, okay, or emails, to Solomon the Great, who's another weird black magician practicing this evil Phoenician death cult. They go into some details about all this. Now, there's parallels with other religions, and I think I'm working it out in my mind. Now, they talk about in here the Phoenicians have a sacrificial method, okay, whereas in their great god, their powerful god, has to sacrifice his one and only son or his son. Has anybody heard this narrative before in any other religion? Now, I'm not just talking about Abraham either, which is in this. In fact, they all are. Moses, everybody. It goes through so much juice. So we'll start here, guys. I'm going to just read a little bit of the intro, and then we're going to move on and I'll try and find you some of the juicage. In presenting this collection of ancient fragments to the world, some explanation of what comprehendeth under the title is not altogether unnecessary. We are accustomed to regard the Hebrew scriptures and Greek and Latin writings as only certain records of antiquity. Not anymore. Yet there have been other languages in which have been written the annals of histories by other countries. Where then are those of the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Egyptians, and the Phoenicians of Tyre and Carthage? Why did I say that like that? Chinese. Of the literature of all these mighty empires, where are even their remains? I will, no doubt, tend to excite some reflections of the melancholy cast and look at a small volume as an answer. Okay, and they are all containeth within it. So basically, he's got these fragments and they're shit hot. He thinks they're the most important thing ever. Okay, I'm going to skip a lot of the narratives and we're going to just, through memory, get to the important bits. Greek, a language of early historians of Greece, the names only of some have come down to us, whilst others, such as Eupolemus and Historius, I guess this is where history comes from, maybe, several very interesting fragments have escaped general wreck. So basically, they survived the flood, or general resets. Okay, so they go into some details of their cultage and their sacrificial methods. So it goes into the antediluvian books of Enoch, large fragments of Aripanus of the Sibylline Chronicles, mind-blowing, and a correspondence of Solomon to Hiram, king of Tyre, and the tragedy of Ezekiel, in which Moses figures as a hero, with several compositions of similar description. So, okay, the contents of the volume are fragments of which have been translated from foreign language into Greek, and they are arrangements for the Phoenicians, the Chaldeans, the Egyptians, the Turanians, the Persians, and the Carthaginians, who were all under the sort of umbrella of Phoenicia. It goes into Phoenician theology of Sanaconiathio. Okay, this is bloody hard words to say. Who is considered the most ancient writer of the heathen world. Interesting. What age he wrote is uncertain, but the history was composed in Phoenician language, and the materials collected in the archives of Phoenician cities. We're going to look at some evidence for these in fragments from architecture from another manuscript, okay, which we link to you. Okay, now Noah comes up in this quite often. His name in this is, as you will see, Oranus, and he's a bit of a fish. He's a fishy dude, apparently. So generations contain many curious passages. They are only well authenticated heathen accounts of the times before the flood. In the first generation was an allusion to the fall. In the second, Janus may be Cain, after which they lose traces of any similarity. The fifth, there was an interruption. So, well, history stopped. And taking the thread of inquiry, the end of the line, in Taritus or Thoth, may perhaps recognise Atheosis in the second. So there's a lot of names that you're going to recognise, like sort of Ham. Okay, it's the same here. So it talks about the king of Egypt and Hermes Trismegistus as well. Again, like the Emerald Tablet, which we covered, probably on my last vlog. I have to upload that. Who appears as the advisor for Kronos, or Kronos. Okay. Ham is the same with Kronos. So you're going to get a lot of these parallels again. And according to this, guys, you know, the Noah is a Phoenician. Okay, Phoenician, as the greatest gods, he corresponds with Noah, the Uranus, or Uranus, or Uranus of the other line. So it seems there's another line. It seems that it's not just Noah and his descendants. It seems there was other people on the plane that survived, and they are the other side. Okay, they're not Noah's genus. There's others according to this. The generations include with the intimidation that they contain a real history of early times, stripped of all fictions and allegories, of which they have been obscured by the son of Thabion and the first Hierophant of Phoenicia. Hierophant. So it talks about Cyrus, blah blah blah, and Mizraim, the son of Ham. So let me bring up some stuff. I got time stamped. This is quite good. This is about their sacrifice. Okay, so there you are. Before the first Hierophant of Phoenicia was the son of Noah, predecessor Mizraim and Canaan, also inhabited also in Phoenicia. In short, was Ham himself. Okay, so oh my days, this is just nuts. Okay, so like I said, the last fragments talk about mystical sacrifice. Now, so have you heard any of this before in any other narratives? Okay. So the mystical sacrifice of the Phoenicians is the requisite that the prince was to offer it and his only son was to be the victim. So a bit like the, you know, the Bible, God and Jesus. And as I have shewn that I could not relate any of the prior, let us consider that he said upon this subject as future and intended to the consequence. Attend to the consequence, excuse me. So if the sacrifice of the Phoenician was a type of another to come, the nature of this last will be known from the representation by which it was prefigured. Okay, according to this, El, the supreme deity who's associated with Elohim, was the process of the time of the sun, well beloved. So, fountain of light. Fountain of light. Offered up the sacrifice of his father, by which the satisfaction and the redemption of all sins of others. So, same old thing, isn't it? It's just like, I think redemption's a cop-out, isn't it? You know, there's no use to go and redeem yourself unless you sin. So, like, first I gotta sin, okay? Then I gotta go off and redeem myself. So there's no point in me redeeming himself if I haven't done any sinning, so I'm gonna get my sin on. So, you know, it's just a cop-out. Don't buy that. So, what else can we learn in this bookage? Don't want to spend an eternity on this bookage, but it's all about Phoenicians, it's all about Babylon. So there it talks about unconscious that Noah is represented under the character of Oannes. Now Oannes, according to this narrative, lives in a lake, is half fish, half man. Anyway, so Noah is Oannes. Belarus's describes him as a hieroglyphical delineation of being literally compounded of a fish and a man, as passing the natural instead of diluvian night in the sea, and other circumstances indicate his character and life. So turns out, right, there was a time when they basically, like, dog heads existed and other animals like horses with dog heads on. So whether they went crazy on the gene pool, but this could not go on. I think it brought on a reset, as well as people's terrible behaviour and sexual immoralities, which it talks about as well. Okay, now The instruction of the patriarch are detailed in the next series of paintings, and first of which I conceive the chaos is portrayed by the confusion of the limbs of every animal, every kind of animal. The second represents the creation of the universe, and the third, the formation of mankind. Others again that of animals and of heavenly bodies. The second book appears to comprehend the history of the Antediluvian world. In the first two fragments they have inserted, the history seems to have been confounded in the history of the world of the Chaldea. Okay, he finds 9 persons probably represented as kings preceding Noah. Okay, so I don't want to read it all, as I said, but it does give you what is happening with Tower of Babel. So, heathen accounts otherwise relates to the subject, affirms the violent destruction of the Tower of Babel and the dispersion of the builders and subsequent desolation of said city. So we got that coming up as well on another page. Babylon is on page 60. So this is just the basically the idea of what is in the book. So Noah's a fish, okay, and this Oannes, as we're going to find out, gives all of information. So is the situation is, they say Noah, patriarch for the human race, survivor of the ark, he's an Arkite, he's a Phoenician, and he brings all of this information, which he gives to everybody from the water, because he's a merman in his book. Goes into Metic books as well, the Metic sciences, so alchemy plays a huge role in this as well. In fact, the way they talk about alchemy in this is like they're talking about the function for the whole of this place. I'm wondering if that's why the gold is so important. It is that important structure to this, this matrix to hold it in place. So, fragment of the Tower of Babel is generally quoted as from Aberdeenus. We'll look into that as well, guys. Okay, so let's start. Let me just see if they tell you about this terrible bloody habits of the Phoenicians. Okay, I think it's back a bit. Just a second. Please share this out, guys. I'm going to be skipping through this, and we're going to be going into some other juice very soon. But there is something that I wanted to read to you concerning their very, very low moral standard and why they will go basically reset for their wickedness. So I thought this was really interesting. This is to do with Zoroaster as well. Among the ancient heathens, chaos was the object of veneration. It was looked upon the first great principle which occupies the first place in those creeds which bear the Tritrinian aspect. The other persons of the triad, 3, are equally material. The second is frequently the sun, or the light, or rather the ether, the soul of the world, or the great patriarch himself, or the third, the host of heaven, the stars, the soul of the world, or the consecrated demons. There was the foundation of materialism, which raised the superstructure of idolatry. Holy fuck. This is so bloody great. So, like I said, they talk about immorality, covered exactly the same as what we talked about on another post, the insane edicts and laws laid down by Ham after the flood. Okay, so they talk about a completely different race as well. It's just there's 2 parallels going on, and Noah's not the only survivor in this book. The Turanian annals are also mind mashing, and also the Sibylline Oracle. So let's move on. So I guess we're going to move into the book a bit, guys, okay? And I will read annals of antiquity, sketch the historical paintings on hieroglyphical records, translated to sacred common language of the place. Okay, anyway. So let's get up to page 68. No, we'll start here. This is the cosmology of the Phoenicians. It is pretty mind-blowing. I think I'll do a bit of it, if you don't mind. It's been an effort for myself. Let's have a drink. These supposes that the beginning of all things was a dark and condensed windy air, or a breeze of the dark air in the chaos of turbid and instinctive like Erebus, and that these things were infinite, and for a long time they had no bound. And when the wind became enamored with its own principles, a mixture took place that embraced what was called desire. This sounds very fucking Kabbalistic, guys. Very. And it was also the beginning of the creation of all things. But the wind knew not its own production. And of that, the wind of embrace was begotten Mot. Stop that. Which some called mud. So, check that again. And of the wind from which its embrace was begotten Mot, which some called mud, others that the putrefaction of watery mixture, and from this sprung the seed of creation and the generation of the universe out of the mud. So that's really cool. I've never ever heard that before, and it's a Phoenician. Obviously we're going to recognize a lot of these names. So remember, this is their creation of the Phoenicians. So preceded intelligent animals, and they were called Zoroastrian. That is, the inspectors of heaven, and were moulded like the manner of the shape of an egg, and Mot, mud, shone forth the sun and the moon, and less greater stars. The air, shining thoroughly with light, and its fiery influence on the sea and the earth. Winds were produced, and the clouds, and very great defluxions of torrents of heavenly waters. And when these things, by heat of the sun, were partly separated from the proper places, then they all met again in the air. Excuse me, I think I know what's going to happen next. Yes. And they all met in the air, and then they dashed to pieces against one another. Thunders and lightnings were the effect. And at the sound of the thunders, before mentioned, intelligent animals were awakened and frightened by the noise, and the male and female moved upon the earth and in the sea. So not on the sea, but in the sea. The wind of Calipus and the wife of Babel, which is interpreted night, were begotten two morals called Eon and Protogonus. And Eon found food and trees. So it tells you what each of them brought after the reset, basically. So seeds, it's all of it actually. Those that were begotten of these were called Genus or Geni, and they dealt in Phoenicia. And when they were great out, they stretched forth their hands from heaven towards the sun. For him they thought only the Lord of heaven, calling him Beel Samim, which is Phoenician for Lord of heaven, but in Greek, Zeus. Plasmeri, Reseti, Pissi, Attitudi, Zeusich. So, and it talks about their mortal children, whose names were Theos, Fur, and Flux. Okay, they found method of producing fire by rubbing two pieces of wood together, and they taught men thereafter. Okay, they also had other technologies going on, but in this book, the Chaldean, there's quite a different story. Okay, let's move on. So it talks about more technology. Okay, forest. What's this? Forest consumed by fire. Eusorus having taken the tree and broken off its boughs, where he dareth venture into the sea, and consecrated two pillars to fire and wind, and worshipped them, and poured out them the blood of the wild beasts he had taken from hunting. Okay, and when there was at the end of these the storm and fire ? So it sounds like a bit of magic going on. which you get a little bit later in the book anyway. So fishy beginnings, eh? Well, they do tell us in the official narrative that we came, you know, in their evolutionary bullshit thing, that we came out of the sea, you know, turned into a lungfish, slivered up, ping ping, legs sprouted, next thing you know, space monkeys, okay, and then this. Yeah? That's what I want you to believe. Over eons, or ages and ages of time, okay? It's a theory. There's zero proof. And it's just another idea, isn't it, for how it all came about, and in a short space of time, and in my head, not long ago. So they invent fishing, okay, as well. These two brothers discovered iron for forging. One was called Chrysor, and the other was called Hephaestus. Exercised himself in words and charms and divinations, and he invented the hook, bait and fishing line of boats, slightly built. So they do expand upon boats, and they talk about like battles later on with Phoenicians, etc. After, from this generation, were born two youths, whom they were called Techonites, and the other geniuses of Antediluvian. These discovered the method for mingling stubble, which loom of the bricks, and dried them out in sun and found tiling. So basically, the Techonites built buildings after the floodage, apparently. So it's about magic, okay, descendants of the knowledge of medical herbs, cures, poisons and charms, and other things that we need, okay. So if I am missing anything, please do not despair, guys. I will be linking this up, but as I said, there's a lot of it to get through. So yeah, we got a lot of, you know, overthrows of characters from antiquity. From Mysa came Tautus, who invented writing in the first letters. Him, the Egyptian, called Thor. Isn't that Thor a Viking? And the Alexandrians, Thoth. So we got Thoth and Thor in the same narrative, and the Greeks, Hermes. So again, Mercury's Hermes Trismegistus, and Thoth and Thor, all in the same narrative. But from Sidink came the Dioscruti and the Cabriri, or the Corbinites, or the Samothraces, who, he says, built the first ships they completed. Okay, so they had the first ships. So it's basically man after the flood. Okay, so here's Noah again, or this Uranus. But when Kronos came to man's age, the advice of assistance of Hermes Trismegistus, who was his secretary. So he was his secretary. Yeah. He opposed his father, Uranus, and he might avenge his mother, Kronos, and her children. Persephone and Athena, the former died a virgin, but the advice of Athena and Hermes, Kronos made an iron scimitar and a spear. Then Hermes addressed his allies, Kronos, with magic words, wrought in them keen desire, and fought against Uranus on the behalf of G. Kronos overcome Uranus in battle. So Kronos battered Uranus in battle. So ended up winning the maiden, no doubt. So this is the Phoenician account. Let's move on to another account. Right, so what we got here, page 68, and we're going to be the Chaldeans, and they talk about, there's a bit of sacrifice going on there. But to keep the vlog interesting and exciting, let's get to move into some usage, because there's so much of it. Literally, I could read it all, guys, and it would all blow your head off, but I haven't got time. 68. So it goes into Chaldeans, and it talks about the destruction of the Jewish temple, okay, which we've covered quite a bit on this post. 68. Is the flood. It's basically exactly the same narrative for Noah's flood, and they send birds out and they come back and then they find land. Okay. 72 is they found a palace in the mud, okay, which they never built after floodage. Okay, it's enormous. Okay, Okay, so where the rivers diverge is so to facilitate the entrance into it. Buildings 3 walls with an inner city, and 3 all about. Some of the walls, excuse me. So basically, they were burnt brick and bitumen, and some were only brick. Admirably fortified and magnificently adorned. Okay, so big, fuck off, excuse me, building that they found. And then it goes into like the reign of everybody, and like some of them are like eons. Okay, which I'll show you now. So the Metic Krieg, Old Chronicles, remains of Manithio. Okay, so there's that palace. So read all about it. Read all about it. So here's the Metic Creed. Excuse me. And it gives you dates and 6 descendants. And this is from the original text. So that goes on. So I think we go to page 28 a second. Ooh. Page 28. I've overstepped and I lost a page. Excuse me. Cast that again. So this talks about the Gnostics. Now, there's great doubt has been entertained respecting the authenticity of these oracles and the variety of authors by whom they have been quoted. And these works, they lie dispersed, speak something of their favour, that they were forgery of some Gnostics. So is the Gnostics doing the forgery? Interestingly enough, considering this is such an early document, they talk about Sabaean. Is this Sabbatea? Sabbatean? Sabbatee? Can't be, it's too late. That was 1666. This is early after the flood. The oracles of Zoroaster is not genuine extracts, at least contain genuine doctrine of the Sabaean theology. The writings, which are extant under the title of Hermetic books. Okay, and it goes into Buddhism, Egyptian Buddhists. Wow. I would love to be able to read all of this to you, but I'm afraid that's not going to be possible today. So, page 50 talks about flying people. Excuse me. So, the theology of the Phoenicians. So, that is fucking brilliant. Wow. I wish I could read it all. Anyway, so fish people on 56 as well. So page 50 is they talk about flying people. Okay, so this is what the description of Kronos, the dragon's sacred characters of elements. Anyway, he contrived also Kronos, the enzyme of his raw power, leaving 4 eyes in the parts before and parts behind. 2 of them were closed as in sleep, and upon the shoulders 4 wings. 2, the act of flying, and 2 responding to rest. So we had 2 for flying, 2 for rest. And the symbol was that Kronos, while sleeping, was watching and reposing whilst he was awake. And like in a similar manner, with respect to the wings, that whilst he rested, he was flying. Well, he rested whilst he flew. So basically, is this allegory for astral projection? He also had 2 wings upon his head. So, mystical sacrifice of the Egyptians gets quite trippy, guys, but I'm not going to be covering that right now. So, page 56 talks about... It's all to do with the flood as well. Don't forget that as well. So it's not dogma-y either. It's pretty funky. And we get to find out what the Tower of Babel is. So, no. They say the first inhabitants of Earth are glorying in their own strength and size, and despising their gods, overtook the rise of the tower, whose top should reach the sky where Babylon now stands. But when it approaches the heaven, the winds associated with the gods and overturned the work upon its contrivers, and its ruins are said to be at Babylon. And the gods introduced a diversity of tongues amongst men, who, till this time had all spoken the same language. And the war arose between Cronus and Titan. Blah 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 blah. Confused tongues. So basically, they were going to go up and knock on the dome, and they got up there, and the winds were too heavy, and the whole thing came down. So I wonder what winds they're actually talking about. So it was to get to the dome to reach the gods in this narrative. Okay, what else we got? We got Fish People on 62 here. Excuse me. Please share this out, guys. I'm going to be like about another hour doing this, and this will be up later on, probably 9 o'clock. So the birth of mankind. Okay, so let's pick it up by year. These writings contain a history of heavens and the sea and the birth of mankind, also those who have sovereign rule and their actions to achieve them. The first place describes Babylonia, a country which lies between the Tigris and the Euphrates. He mentions that it had abundant wheat, barley, orcus, shimusman, whatever that is, and lakes were found, the roots called gongi, which is good for eating. Okay, and they had barley, they had the apples, they had trees, blah 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 blah. So they had it going on with the fruit. Okay. So all kinds of fruits, fish too, birds. So I want to get to where they tell you about the. Oh, there you are. In the first year, they were made an appearance. Okay, in the first part of the Erythraean Sea, which bordered upon Babylonia, another animal endowed with reason, who was called Oannes, which is, according to the earlier narrative, Noah. According to the account of Apollodorus, the whole body of the animal was like that of a fish, and had under fish heads another head, and feet below, similar to those of a man. Joining the fish tail, his voice too, a language was articulate like a human, and it represented him, preserved even to this day. Okay, so basically, give him a lot of information. This being in the daytime used to converse with men, but took no food at this season. He gave them insight into letters and sciences and every kind of art, and he taught them to construct houses. He found temples and to compile laws, and explain to them the principle of geometry knowledge. And he made them distinguish seeds of the earth. So basically, guys, what's happening here is this Honus, who's this merman, has given humanity all the knowledge, and it's Noah, and he's a Phoenician, and he's a mermaid. Also, it talks about like the fuck up of humanity here, okay, where everybody's like sort of mixed. Bulls likewise bred with the heads of men, dogs with 4 full bodies and the tails of fishes. Wow. Also horses with heads of dogs, men too, and other animals with the heads and bodies of horses and tails and fishes. So this seems like this guy with a fish tail is not like, you know, a rare effect. And we see this with all of the ancient documents, don't we? Where they're sort of interbreeding. Here as well. There is a time in which nothing but darkness and the abyss of the waters, wherein resided most hideous beings, which were produced by twofold principle. Men appeared with 2 wings, like angels, with 4 and with 2 faces. They had 1 body and 2 heads, and the one man and the other a woman. They had likewise several organs, both male and female. The other figures had been seen with legs, horns of goat, some were horses' feet. So this is like Pan. It's like they're all real in this book. So yeah, so Aphrodite again. Whew. So what else we got? Now I'm going to get to Zoroastrianism in a minute. So that was quite insightful, which is on page 132. So by here somewhere, okay? Thanks for being so patient, peeps. I'll link you this book, but it is pretty impressive stuff. So this is a Chronicles of Zorro, who makes the sign of the Z. Okay, got my Zorro sword. So it talks about the mind, and it talks about like just mind-blowing stuff. The matrix contains all things. So Salvation texts. Where is the paternal noad is? Noad is enlarged and generates two. The duid sits by him and glitters with intellectual sections, both to govern all things and in order everything not ordered. And the whole world shineth the triad, over which the monad rules. The monad's like God, I suppose. Triad is like the Trinity, because it's three, isn't it? This order is the beginning of all section. For the mind of the Father said that all things be cut into three. Whose will ascended, and then all things were divided. For the mind of the eternal Father set all things into three, governing all things of the mind. Anyway, so it's all about threes there, but there you are. It says here, the fountain of fountains and all fountains. Interesting. The matrix containing all things. And I guess quite deep and philosophical. I thought I read a few of them, but it's just like he's talking about the psyche, and he talks about manifestation. I'll give you some ideas. The Father hath scratched away himself, neither hath been shut up by the own fire of his intellectual power. By nothing unfurnished proceedeth the Father's rule, and the Father perfected all things, and delivered them to the second mind, which the whole race of men call the first. Like begotten of the Father, for he alone. I was just mashing my head up. Anyway, let's just move on. So this is Zoroastrianism, and it's psychological narrative. But it's crazy how he talks about manifestation as well. I thought that was amazing. What about this? Being as it were, the ferryman betwixt the Father and matter. The ferryman betwixt the Father and matter. Anyway, so we're going to move on. So anyway, Zoroastrianism it ends with, and it's quite incredible. It's all to do with alchemical sciences, or magic, if you like. And it's a good psychological study for ancient times. I thought it was amazing. When I was reading, I was like, yeah. And it don't delve off into the ridiculous or anything. Yeah, it's pretty brilliant. The great sun and the bright moon. A little narrative for them too. So we're moving on. Thanks, peeps. I hope that didn't take too long. We're going to look at some images here of Phoenicia. Give you some idea of what we're talking about. Not too many though. So these were obviously dug up in, in Phoenicia, which is Syria, parts, well, all of it really. All the Middle East, I reckon. Coast of North Africa, even Greece and Rome. Phoenician. Right. Next. So we're doing quite a bit there. Makes sense actually. Moses being a fish, a merman. But they're not rare because everyone is like, half man, half dog, dog heads, because they're fucking around with the gene pool at this time. So yeah, that's making perfect sense. But giving all the information to humanity. Comes up in the lake of the night, has a chat. So yeah, the megaliths on these, and they're all underground bunkers, so they're like building massive installations, huge megaliths out in the middle of nowhere. All this is underground. See, pyramids, and you go down steps underground, all bunkers. So a sarcophagi, all that effort? Nah, I don't think so. This is Sudan, its fortress, and more fragments of Phoenician antiquity. You'll know now when you see these fragments, you'll recognise a lot of the symbology on modern day buildings, civic buildings, and their strange habits, which you talk about all in that book, by the way. Moral habits, I mean, and sacrifice habits. So look at this, all a door all behind there, buried in mud and then made visible through time. Something bad happened to Phoenicia. Then massive reset. Oh, see the Phoenicians with the flowing flowers and all underground bunkers. It's just nuts. They've been defaced. I'm not sure if these are pencil drawings. So we got Babylon or Apollo or Lady Liberty, who's in New York Harbour, New Jersey, and you get these stones with these reliefs on. Phoenician pyramid pagoda. That looks like something might have fitted on it at some stage. The size of these walls. Yeah, that's flood prevention. So, you know, this will have similarities with the Assyrian narrative, Mesopotamian narratives. All of them have similarities. They're all pretty much the same story, same characters. Nice. And this is Phoenician. So fragments, they've got the all-seeing eye in a pyramid. It's probably one of the earliest you're going to see. So that's from whenever they say. Bloody Bronze Age went over fast off antiquity anyway. Excuse me, sorry about that. And you have the pyramid and the all-seeing eye, and what looks like a portal. Same here. Look at this Phoenician language. And we got the goat. Alright. It's not far off Greek, is it, that one? So. And you got the... Oh! That's that thing we see in them Roman depictions that's got sound waves coming out of it. It's not very balanced, this. There's a flower there. Sound wave box there. And fragments of an old stone door. And as you can see, they come underground. These people went under. It's like other sites, like you can think of. In Judara and others. Where they went underground. Deep. And the blocks are just immense. Check this out, guys. This was the centre of... I'll show you the outer thing. Look at this, it says Mapti. But you can understand a lot of these words as well. It's Phoenician, we are speaking Phoenician. This looks like some weird code. All of it do, in fact. I'll show you the bigger image now. So, this is Phoenician fragment. And you have like this digital board thing. Beautiful. And some of their underground installations. So Pasotholis, Palmyra, sorry about that. Oh fuck. Off Facebook. And Babylon. Which you get Egyptian type sphinxes. Yet, it's not in Egypt at all. Which our book will explain that all of these peoples came from Phoenicians. These, look at him. Was that fucking Ted Eve? But guys, it's just weird. Look what's going on. Why are they mixing people with animals? Imagine this place. So you know, I think they might have reset it just because of that alone. Oh, that's interesting. Gog. Looks like crepuscular rays. Stop touching me, somebody. And there's Phoenician. So what we can see on here, Gog again, Zog, Gog, Og, Og. This repeats 09, 09, 09, everywhere. 09. Okay, learning together. This is what think tank does. So they look like canoptic jars for keeping things in. And here's ancient Phoenicia again, replicated through all of antiquity on all civic buildings, in every city centre, in what they so-called Christendom. But I found them everywhere. They're just mental. They're everywhere. There's nowhere that's escaped. No way. No way. So there's Sidon, the Phoenician port, which hasn't got a star fort at that period. So, moving on. This is another document. I'm not going to cover too much of it, but it's just corroborating evidence for the last. And it talks about the Vens, and it talks about basically this is the origins of, you know, the Etruscan language, which is Slavic, as we often talk about. And it talks about these peoples, these sea peoples, okay, and it talks about Ireland as well. There's a lot more the Celts in this. The Book of Evasions of Ireland. This professor from Dublin, okay, he says the Fomorians, which I'm really trying to find something about, the Fomorians, okay, is another word for marine demons. Fomorians has to be for Phoenicians. Phoenicians, the Fomorians, so it's like Phoenician Moors, Antediluvian, all in one go. Phoenician Moors, maybe, or Phoenicians, called marine demons. So I'm guessing they were pretty shitty. So I can give you this book as well. It's got a massive narrative concerning these subjects. The Vens, I'm really intrigued who these are. Okay, and it's an alternative narrative for history, coupled with the last one, which is what we do on Fact of British. This map is mind-blowing. Okay, so it's a nautical chart of northeastern Atlantic Ocean, Baltic Sea and the Mediterranean, okay, and the world circular map. Now what's unusual about this, guys, is it's an upside down map. So it seems like the power or the juice, okay, is up north and they're looking at the earth from their perspective. Also, come out in chat last night because I had two events on the Think Tank channel. Portals. Now I noticed with, you know, meridians, you know, they had the meridians in Britain, isn't it, going slapping through Greenwich for whatever fucking reason. And before then, you know, on the map of Monday it's Jerusalem, or one of them, for meridian. You haven't got a set meridian here at these times. You have these center points, which are stars. You see them all over Middle Ages depictions, where all lines converge. Are they showing ley lines, or are they showing latitude and longitude lines? Well, they're not, are they? They stop at these. Are they mapping portals? Are they mapping portals with these? A few of you have seen them. I've seen Lady Mud posting about them. She was intrigued too, and I have been. I've seen them a lot on Asian maps. Are they portals? So, this map is crazy. First of all, we're going to look at this because it's all in the firmament. Okay, the stars are all in the firmament, and you don't get America, but you do get a compressed world. Okay, all surrounded by the moon, the stars, and the sun. Europa. I guess that's Asia, Africa, and Britain would be this thing here, or half of Britain would be. So I don't recognise a lot of the names. Some you will. It's hard to orientate, but I guess you guessed already. This is Angleterre, Britain. Okay, Anglia. It's upside down, the names, okay, guys? You'd have to flip it to read them because everything's looking north, looking south. So Tembe, is that Tembe? Let's turn it upside down, see if we can read it. So Wales. See, it gets very confusing when it gets upside down. Let's put it the right way up. Oh, there you are. So there's Wales Island, which is very, very busy at this time. Is that Dublin? Possibly. And Scotland, which is all upside down as well. Okay, so to orientate ourselves, this is Paris, which is upside down. It's got a strange name. Skyscrapers. And they start to get a little bit right the way up when we get down to Iberian Peninsula. So Lisbon would be here. This is Madrid, I suppose. Valencia, whatever. Barcelona. Yeah. And then to Africa, across the Gibraltar Strait. This is Morocco, which have got big palaces and giant castles. They're not there today, are they? So this is the North African coast. Okay. And Sicily is Sicily with a C in this. Here's Italy, the boot, obviously Sardinia and Corsica. Right. And this giant mountain range which rips through the Sahara, which is often called Kong Range, which splits off into two. It's not there in the modern day. So I'm thinking like it's being turned to dust in some apocalyptic event. So that's pretty high. So that's Cairo. They haven't got pyramids at Cairo though. And there's another one of these centre things here. The Arabian one. Okay. Maybe that's Mecca, the cube at Mecca. I doubt it. So anyway, where were we? Okay. So Africa. Okay, so we get down to West Africa and they still got skyscrapers and stuff going on. Yeah. So. And here as well. Skyscrapers. Looks Moorish. And that is in Central Africa. Down all the way to South Africa. And what you find with South Africa is it seems to be connected with land. As in Cape Horn's not there. Cape Town's not there. Okay. So it comes down. I haven't got the other side of Africa, I'm sorry, but it comes down and abruptly ends there and it joins up this land. Maybe. But it gets a bit obscured anyway. So that's the Red Sea, which is always bloody red. Okay, so that's Arabia. So that could be Mecca. And is that Moscow? We will see now. So yeah, it's all upside down. I think that's a good clueage. Central Europe's where it's going on. And all these are upside down, look. What about that one? Next to the Black Sea. That's the main one, isn't it? Next to the Caspian Sea. So yeah, it's a bit confusing map. So what's this one over here? On an island? Above us. So is that Iceland? That's Britain. And there's this big fucking massive island which has loads of churches and skyscrapers. And what are you called? We're not going to know, are we? This is all in bloody Latin. So yeah, one freaky ass map looking the other way, guys. I'm guessing that's Iceland. Oh no. Frixland. That's that Friesland. That's gone as well. Underwater. Scandinavia, the Black Sea. And over to Russia. Which has all these. So yeah, it's a mind-blowing map, guys. Take a look for yourself. I will link it up. You can go through your own discretion. I thought that was a good clueage. Everything with the ice wall around it. And one crazy upside down map. With clues to Hyperborean, we thinketh. That's the right way around. Okay. Doesn't go too much into Asia. It's mostly Europe and Africa. Okay. Boom. She's going to be a long vlog, 7:30 now. Anyway, moving on. So this is another narrative, another book I'm going to give to you concerning prophecy, time and the end of Earth. And it talks basically the same sort of thing about everyone having an adulterous generation and everything was just to shit in this place, and it got reset. So there's a lot to learn in this book, guys. I will present some of it later, at a later date, but I'm going to link it up to you because of its basically its nectarianness. Okay. An alternative narrative for history, which is what we do on Flat British. Right, let's have a look at some emblemata. Don't spend too much time on them though, because time is getting away. And I was hoping to have this video up tonight, but I guess if it goes up later it won't matter. So, emblemata from basically the Phoenicians for this time we've just been talking about, if you ask me. And they show you the crucible. I know kings and queens hold this in their hand, dictators and stuff. This one is on fire because it's a comet. Okay, look at this guy with a hand just trying to book to it, the knowledge to get it active, I think that means. So, emblemata from an early time. Any clues in the print? I like to see the covers just in case. Anyway, let's move on. And it will give you some sweet depictions. Obviously not that one. That's not too bad. So I don't know what the X is to do with his Masonic stuff, or hers. She's got a crazy happy hat on. Oh, she's bricklaying. She's bricklaying. Or he's bricklaying. So lady bricklayers in dresses. Who knew? So the trees are all wrecked and all the buildings are all wrecked. Cars. Is that Sweden? Spurish. The wreck will, because he's all been underwater and he's got a knife in his gut. He's like, oh, fuck this. And the Phoenicians and their waterfalls. I'm guessing fresh water was hard to get hold of. Like I said, we're in the last throes of Rectivum Indicum. Last throes of, we're post-flood society, we're in the last throes. What the hell is this? Looks like a vibrational tool. Anyway, death's hanging him in a bloody resetted world. A lodestone and a heart, because there's gold in heart. Metals, magnet and a heart. Magnet and a 5G. Who knows? And there it is, the crucible. Okay, it's been big clues. Kings and queens, they all got 'em. And they give you victory because it will reset. And dog heads, who are living openly in this time, as I explained. So, people who are animals seem to be commonplace only 3,500 years ago, even fucking less. They must have you know, I can imagine one's on the road and seeing, like, you know, somebody with a fox head. It must be really freaky. So considered it. Something bad's happening anyway, with the Masonic pillars with wings, fasces, open, active charge, fire and brimstone, and not really looking good. Phoenicians in boats. I'm guessing that might be, no, it's not. It's not Noah. It's been given a fiery torch, though. Might need that. Columbus. Okay, he's going to go in there, is he? Where's that going? It's going fucking nowhere, isn't it? What are you looking at it for? Jumping. So. And I'm guessing that's Jacob's ladder ascending, so that's another allegory for getting the fuck off, yeah? And an anvil, which is metal, and they're throwing arrows at it. An anvil. Is it magnetic? Wonder what that's all about. So I could go through these forever, but I'll go through a few. So pots, maybe pots, they just randomly threw them away in antiquity once they were used. Maybe they were used for something else. And not like the battery, but something more advanced, because that's just a psyop. He's got 2 stones in his head. Yeah. This is like a narrative for what we just read, and this is when it all happened. So death is screwing down the crucible, creating pressure, creating sound. This king has a scepter. And once he presses... Oh, they got a ram head, and he plays a trombone. And some Roman pissy emperor. Cain. This is Cain. He's not very gianty, is he? Okay. The owl. Fucking hell. Sigavito. I can't decode that. Okay. So if you put something magnetic onto your crucible, this horny woman, it's gonna get active. Now they built the tower up to the domage, and then the gods' winds took it down, which we just showed you. This is a visual narrative for what we just been going through. Intelligent animals. He's being attacked by bees. Seen a lot of depictions. There's one behind me, a unicorn laying on a lady's lap, like they're talking, like she's like it's tame. Mobile phone. So yeah, this is gonna go on. Cherabanuski. Yeah, put him out of his misery, for fuck's sake. I'm not sure. I didn't mean that, by the way. Cherabanuskis are really, really not cute at all. They're fucking horrible. Phoenician lions. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh my god, a genie. Impossible, est? It's possible. But it's a genie and he's flying. He's like, I give you my heart. Well, wish is my command. Really? What would you wish for? Money? Power? Happiness? Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? So what's this wheel and all buildings? Reset cycle in a wheel, an allegory. And a deal done to make sure it happens. Wow, humanity is so fucking blinkered to what they're doing. Keep them going with false narratives. Keep them thinking. You know, I'd even had a fucking think on my phone earlier, make sure that I didn't stop thinking about fucking coronavirus, which I don't think about, by the way, because I knows how reality works, knows what they're up to. I'm trying to explain it forever, not for a long time. Anyway, getting foods back together after reset. So that's highly interesting. And I spent loads and loads of clues, but we have to move on. Now, I've been looking into this dude, okay, who's Jan Van Eyck. He's an impressionist artist, or actually not impressionist, a Renaissance artist, and he lived from 1390 to 1441, so it's really early, right? This time is not what you think it is, guys. They are doing I show you now, okay? And this quality and everything is just mind-blowing. So I'm guessing this is like a Jesus dude who looks like Maharishi. He's got bloody big blue sapphire and a load of like jewels and shit over his chest. I don't know why that's happening. Don't need all that, do you? Also, this one has got a oh, hang on. Is this Gabriel? Well, anyway, this one's got a blue diamond on its chest, or a blue, possibly a blue diamond. This one has two. Is this technology? On the head, two of the mind's eye. So this is some enunciating going on. You can't be too, you know, choosy. You don't even know whether angels are blokes or women. You're all a bit the same. So I'm guessing this is Eve and somebody playing. Oh. So here's that couple. The weird thing about this, right, is it's been talked about on New Earth channel a couple of years ago, is the light keeps changing. There's no way an artist will be able to get it. 1300s, and they got fucking like blinds, nice windows, modern day, beautiful convex mirror for jewels. We got a museum here called St Fragments, and basically they show you like a bedroom from a later period, and it's like shit. Yeah, there's like, you had Nike. So here's a girl in flip-flops, red flip-flops. She's having a little wash down, or somebody watches her for some fucking reason. Like, do you mind? Take a walk. Have a little wash down. Big blue dressage. Look at this. Any need? And look at the rainbow wings. So that's a bit of enunciating going on. Some more. There's Madonna in a church. She's like a virgin. And she's got a lot of shit going on. A lot of valuable, money stuff going on. She's not really what they preach. So here's the mirror of basically Giovanni Adamolifi and his wife from Van Eyck. And there they are. The backs of them in the mirrors, and they got some artists there. And look at this mirror with all the Greeks or the Phoenicians all the way around it. And the beads. It's not what you expect, is it? In fact, to me, their quality completely batters anything that's around now. Look at the high quality of clothes. They don't give the sproggage a fucking Kinder egg. They give it a load of jewelage. Oh god, that's an old man. Maybe it has that degenerating disease where they start old and get younger. So he's monking, and the world in the background looks very beautiful for 1400. Green. Van Eyck. Beautiful art of Van Eyck. That for a carpet. And the tile floors, everything. It's just shit up. It's crap now. Look at the purple robe. What's that made that of? And the night shit as well. What's that for? The corner thing. That's not going to help you. It's Flash Gordon stuff. Ooh, fish head. Fuck 'em. So a bit of a crucifixion in the Middle Ages, as you do. Because that's when it all went down. Everyone having a little cry over it. And this time he's on a cross. Well, his cross is a square, but it's not a cross, is it? It's a T in this case. And this Roman, who looks green and furry hatted, doesn't look Roman, because the Romans are there at all. Skyscrapers and shit in the background. What that? Sort of stuff's going on in Jesus' time. Wow. Wow. Space City. Anyway, no Romans happening there. Oh, there's that guy there. Last Judgment. On a cross. Same sort of T. So that is Jesus stood. And Divine Council. Who's going to survive? Who's going to not? Mud flood. Everyone's sinking in the mud. The waters are coming. And everyone's going down. Down. Whatever. And that's an unfinished picture. Unless everything just got covered in mud. Of Van Eyck's. So she looks alien, or not real, human. And she got a big comb on her head, so I think she's a conehead. Or got horns. I think she got horns as well, and she's hiding them. Because they say that there's horns in this time. I think they are genuinely hiding horns. What's going on with that ermine? Look at this. So they're better shit in 1300s than they got now, guys. Feel bad about that. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, I don't want to look at that too much. So more medieval Jesus being crucified on a T. And how many floors on that skyscraper? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't even know. What that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dozen-story skyscrapers in Jesus' time. Why's he got a skull underneath him? And what is that? What's that? Nothing's as you thought it was, mate. So I'm guessing that's like a baptism of Johnny, or whoever. John doing Jesus baptisms. And the Disney in the background. And the devils flying down into the North Pole. Moonage. Nice little Dutch scene. Little Happy Hat Brigade. Watching the welcome you to the Phoenician Empire. And it is. It's Nos and Eva. Adam, Eva. Oh. We give you a close-up of Adam in a minute. He's got a bit of a look in his eye. Not sure what's going on. Only because of the skyscrapers in the background in Van Eyck's time. 1300. Right. So, Toomage. 1300 and they got all this going on. It's fucking amazing. You know, we haven't got cups like that. What about all these skyscrapers going on in the 1300s? Did everyone miss Van Eyck? It's really weird. Everyone misses everything. So I don't like the look of that. Now look at her. What's she reading? And why does she need so much shit? Yeah? Why do you need all that? It's not a balance, is it? That's Virgin Mary. There's more Annunciation going on. That's Mary and Michael and other people. He's like, go on, ask her, ask her, ask her what? Ask her if I can come in. No, he took his space hat off. Not space, communications hat. There he is anyway. Okay, Van Eyck, 1300's got a pair of glasses. Yeah, they existed. Half finished. Half finished. Look at this guy here. What do you think this is for? Deflect bullets. I don't know. Adonis. He's got a cross there, like an English flaggage. Some more holy peeps in one big massive painting. Oh, woe is me. Don't worry, it'll be alright. Feet are filthy. She got jewels on her head, she'll be alright. So this is a man in a blue cap. Would talk like this. Maybe. Oh, there you are, that's Adam. So he's got curly tots anyway, so what do you think, Adam? You've got a bit of a holy fuck face going on. Yeah, I know. Not liking all that rulage going down here. Yeah? Taxes, isn't it? She's hiding something in there as well, Isabella. I think it's a happy night. She's definitely hiding horns. What do you think? Or he? Or she? What do you think? Portrait of Margaret Van Eyck. And the trippiness of... Look at the mud flood. Or are they rising from the dead while it's all being reset? Yeah, I think so. I think it's an alien zombie apocalypse. Everyone else is drowning. Or are they coming out of the water? No, they're drowning. Cooey! Oh look, he's waving at us. Cooey! Hi! I'm drowning. Cooey! Fuck me. This, that don't go with... Fuck me, this angel looks trippy. Wow. Any need for it? Oh, that's a nice little face on that. Friendly face. Shouldn't smile him because a big fuck off crown. Don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe fins. Not Finnish people, I mean fins for war. Oh God, what happened? We're children of the world. Watching every day go by. So, that's the end of Van Eyck. So, these are shoppy images. I was just looking at this images. It's on the end of basically in America, in New York, in Albany, and it's an Albany quarry, okay? And this is supposed to be called the House of Doom, or Bungalow of Doom, 1941. Look at that lamppost. That's from an older world. Not for that, you know, no offence to whoever lived there in Doom House, but it's pretty crap compared to this quality steel item. So yeah, they go into the I'll give you the link. You can click any one of these and it's just going to be superb. Let's have a look at New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans, Tartaria, 1890. Check that out. Yeah. And there is in modern day. Hasn't changed a bit. It's the same bloody steel. Wow, that's pretty shit up. So yeah, you can just basically go through that at your leisure. I need to move on. Now this is something we're thinking about. Facies. Now, in the field of, I suppose, mud fossils and everything else, giantage and everything else, what about this? Now facies, or fasciae, or plural fascii, objective fascial, okay, is the Latin for band. Is a band sheet of connective tissue, primarily collagen, excuse me, beneath the skin that attaches, stabilizes, encloses and separates muscles and other internal organs, and it's named fasciae, and it's a load of cords pulled together like a fasces. What if the fasces made this come apart, the connective tissue? So did this happen with giants? Is this why they're in the landscape? So I just thought it was incredible. There's also a fascia on the sole of the foot as well, so it might be a clue to why they're calling it the fasces, and it happens to be the same sort of description for fasces. Right, images or photos. Oh, bloody hell, time's getting on. It's 8 o'clock. No, I'm never going to finish this. It's going to be like a 3-hour fucking vlog of Italy, but these are too juicy not to go through, and I haven't even hit my images of the day yet. So all you get is late Victorian Italy. Yeah, everything is high-rised, as in massive. Okay, they got these old giant arches which have all been blocked in, but check the size of these places. They got cables, sure, but the trams are horse-drawn. Now we will see some cluage. And these are all in Italy, like Bologna is coming up, and other beautiful cities like Florence. And they got horse-drawn carriages, but the size of the architecture. Look at this. Size of that bloody church there. Grand Hotel at Belvedere. Look at that window there. Whew. And that is another Italian piazza. And what about that? Oh, a pile of mud is there. They're digging something up. So let's try and get an eye for this. Giant doors. Every one of them. The size of the people for these fucking doors. Tiny, tiny people. And up she goes. Oh, this one feels heavily Phoenician. It was Gothic, but look at that. They added the papal window. Ugh. So. Excuse me, some Italian boys. Are they fucking the road up? Are they cooking potatoes? Anyway. Well, that's nice. Size these bloody things. So, they got telephone. So, it is late 1800s. And they got a bit of boating going on. Not sure what that is on there. The aerial. So, the sails, just like the curtains at the end of a stage show. Or show. Oh, that's nice. Well, them rocks look interesting, don't they? Alright, whiz through these cause I need to go and do stuff. And upload this. And it's getting too late to do a vlog. Now imagine pulling into this. Look at the height of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 story, and they go higher and higher. Wow. That was 100 years ago. 130 years ago. Wow. Sorry. Oh, look at this. Absolutely beautiful. So there is a Tartarian convention coming up in Italy this month. It's St Davids Daye in Wales. Not that I do that, but it is St Davids Daye, which is like, if you're Irish, St Patrick's Day. George, England. Andrew, Scotland. And in Wales, bunker booth there, we have St Davids Daye. Yeah. But no, they don't really bother much. I did when I was in school. It was nice. They used to do stuff. So imagine pulling into that little bay there on your boat. Ooh. Oh, something else went up there, like a staircase to that church tower. Well, it goes right up there. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for joining, everyone. Please share it out. I've got a clue how many are in chat, but I've got some more juice to get through and I need to get on. So I'm going to link these up to you, as mind-blowing as they are. And brilliant. Lovely fucking HD photographs of antiquity, like this Italian villa type thing with all of these frescoes, for example, which is incredible. Got that on your house? I haven't, have you? Well, you might have. So 1860 something. So these are really early 1860s. Bloody hell. Good quality. I'm moving shots for 1860s. Got no disturbance of frame. So moving on, because I'm getting a key now. Floodage. Yesterday, this was the River Ely. This was me and my son at the River Ely. It's been severely damaged, floodage. It was all entering the houses just over the way. A bit sad. And this is on my son's channel, Lawrence Liedtke's Welsh Dragon Metals, who posted this yesterday. So there's have a little look.
That street's gone, look.
It's a bit echoey. So yeah, there's me. So it's all gone into the houses. It was on Tea Time News. And that bridge, like we're standing on, could go at any moment. It's heavy. So, see, there's me down there, look. Waiting for the bridge to like blow away. Eating a pie. Because me's hungry.
Okay. I'm filming him, just filmed the sky.
Sorry. There you are.
I don't need to be in that fucking split for me. And my pocket's full of fucking... Go on now. Since you're covered in pie. Ew. Child, this is on film.
There you are.
Yes, it is. All your girlfriends will see you being a slob.
So, that's Martin being disgusting. That's me. And this is my channel as well. I've posted some on my Facebook. If you want to join my Facebook, I'll show you about all what I got going on at the moment. I posted these for Flat Day last night, guys. 2 videos, one an hour and 45. Mindblow America in 1671. Horn of Plenty and Nectar of the Gods, X marks the spot. As you can see, pretty good views since last night. Well worth a watch. There's stacks there for you to get into. So I'll link this up. This is the main channel. Sorry, the backup channel. This is our new main channel, if that makes sense. I always show you this. This is Mindblowing Mudfludge website, alternative history and much more. YouTube. Okay. There's my shop, the photo drop. Lee, haven't seen him all week, but he's basically got stuff ongoing. I guess we'll see him at some stage, maybe you in chat. Hi Lee. You can get my book, or our book, The Holy Grail of a Flat Earth. I've got a copy there on this site as well, but I'll link the official site. You can basically donate to Flat Earth British if you think that I'm worthy of helping out with scrapes. You can do it through this, and I will put links in the descriptions box, and Facebook as well. I got shitloads going on there. I'm also on Instagram. I just worked out my son showed me how to use it, so I'm on there as well now. This is what we look into: Tartarian mudflood, the firmament, star thoughts, far shades, comets, technology, antiquitech, giants, warfare, science, art, weather, antiquitech, fireplaces, and we got resources, which is massive amount of books and other stuff, channels you can link to as well, and all sorts. So that's what we're doing on Flat Earth British at the moment. Yay! Right, I'm going to show you images of the day, and I'm going to have to cut out. Okay. We got quite a few. So, not these up because they don't show up. Now, somebody, a sub sent me this. It's in Poland, but I can't really tell you the city because I couldn't understand what it said. But he sent me here in. He was there, and he said this is antiquitech. In fact, gone crazy. I would agree completely. So, that is a mind blow. And this is it from the side. In Poland. Lovely, lovely Poland. A country I thoroughly enjoyed going to. So, another one of those crazy railway stations with Tartarian interpretations. They're fucking watching everything. Look at that though. That got it going on, that station. And it's got another tower there. What clock's that? 10 to 4. Oh, fucking hell. Would be, wouldn't it? And this is below ground level. As you can see, a massive door. My school was like that when I was a kid. Boiler room. So, bandstands. We think there's more going on with bandstands. They weren't for brass bands in the Victorian era. There's something else going on there older. And boring if they are for brass bands. So this was basically sent in to me as well, and it's a bas relief. Oh, we'll see it in a minute. This is interesting. Someone sent me. This is also, I think it's in Poland as well. And you got the top of an arch here, all the concrete's crumbling away, and you get to see it in a minute. Bollocks. 7 years ago in a galaxy far away. Galaxies don't exist, they're in your mind. But Darth Vader as a Tartarian. He's not right in the head, alright. So there's below that ground level, the top of an arch, which proves that it's the top of a door, which proves it's down the bottom, an original street level. As you can see, half buried, or filled in that case. And this is that relief, which gives you a watery reset for some reason. They show you whaling. This one's in Russia, I believe. Very strange scenario. What is strange? Relief, she sent me photos in this week. I believe that's a whaler. So, there you can take screenshots of this. It's completely connected to everything we're talking about. It's the Hebrew language, and the similarities between them and all the others, like the Aleph, is just same as a lot of the others. You know, the Phoenician or the Egyptian real language. Vav. So it gives you everything what they are. Mouth, P, low scatter edge. So really, really helpful source for looking into ancient languages. There it is. It's the Siemens Mount in Bergen, Norway. I'm very sorry, it's not Russia. Norway. And that's the relief. That's quite good. Thank you for sending that. Winged angels, you've got to watch them. Fucking hell. And a bit of whaling going on, I think. And Vikings, obviously. And a standard ship. All built-in clock in Bergen, Norway. Zzz. Nice, thank you. And a North Star above it. Zzz. there's people in the sea there. I think that's whaling. So this is the cover of my last postage, which is Phoenicians, Flooded World and Reset. I won't be showing them because it's going to take too long and I need to get on. This was in basically Mexico, and I'm really impressed with Mexico architecture. I'm thinking some of the pictures they were showing me, have sent me, 1919, my ass. This is the bank. Some of them are better than, you know, some American cities that I've witnessed. I said, you know, considering it's supposed to be Mexico and not have as much money. Look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. It's not bad at all. Masses of Phoenician stuff going on. Excuse me. See? Fasces. It's a nice bank in Madrid, or excuse me, Mexico. Check this one in Mexico. Seashells on the seashore next to a skyscraper. 1855, 1901. Which one? I could not tell. Another corner bank thing like everywhere in Christendom. 1902, Mexico. Somebody sent me this and take a look at this. I can't verify it. I don't think they could get up high enough to see Australia anyway. If it is, it's composites from a balloon, and if it's not, it's just all fake. But look at this, chemtrails all going out in a fan position out of wherever that is. It's not Sydney, it's not Canberra. That's what they say. And this was my local park, Victoria Park. You got bandstand. And all of the flowers and the tulips were all out, all getting drowned. And the River Ely went over. Oh, they're all rotted. And there's the River Ely, raging torrent, highest I've seen it like since I was a kid. All them houses over there have got it. This bridge, they should got the traffic off it, in my opinion. That's in Poland again. So these are apparently North American Indian chiefs. Okay, this is a Royal Florida chief. Seems to be a white dude. Okay, as in Phoenicians, as in, I definitely think the North American Indians are definitely Tatarians. Okay, for their look and their dark skin. And you get a lot of their chiefs who are in, like, you know, Roy, you know, fucking Roy of Florida. He's not really an Indian or Native American. He might be. Albion, Royal of Albion. Oh, he's English. Okay. So this is what they did to you in the alchemical era, right? Is get some psychedelics down you, and then they could read your mind through this machine, which shows your trippy brain or the hallucinations. So medicine for basically purging drugs, or what they call drugs, which are drugs. That purges you. This process. Yeah, that don't seem too nice. These are a Native American baseball team, and they use swastikas. Not because they're Nazi, because it's a peace sign being perverted through time. Excuse me. Here's these images for. Oh, that's in the World Fair. Okay, solar furnace capable of reaching temperatures of 7,000 degrees in the World's Fair of 1904. So, if you know about temperature, that's pretty fucking hot. A shroppy image. Don't know why I downloaded it. And another Indian chief who's looking nothing really like a... Oh, he's a Tatarian ceremonial guard. Alright, I mixed them up. Tatarian huntsman, Indian, looks like Native American, inhabited the inland parts of North America. So it's an American Tatarian, placing them firmly in America. And here's a little video of the flood. Ely Bridge. Yeah, no, it feels weird. And it's burst its banks, as many Welsh rivers have done.
So all the poor houses over there are all going under, as you can see. And this thing is the highest I've seen it, maybe, well, ever in my life. It used to flood years ago. Hey guys. Fucking hell, that is good. The street! Yeah, no, I've already seen it.
The street's gone.
The street's gone, it's going under.
9 o'clock.
Holy fuck.
Their house is gone.
Oh, they're going under.
Their house down there is flooded.
I feel sorry for them.
That's bad.
So that's just fucked up, look. And we haven't even had the fucking brunt of this new storm yet.
Georgie.
Storm Georgie. So, for Better British, recording on a possible ongoing reset. Dunk. Panic buyer, like a fool. Check that out down there though. Wow. This bridge is wobbling horrendously.
You have a vibration.
What's happening, brother?
Getting off it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I thought it might not be safe. It might just wash away with us on it. Shit happens. And there's a police car that they say keep the fuck off.
Oh yeah, right.
But they don't take much notice of that. Oh dear, dear, dear. Oh, I reckon so. That looks dangerous. That bridge is fucked. You know how deep that bridge goes? That's a lot of water. Anyway, here I am, Ely Bridge.
50 foot deep.
Bridge.
It should be burned in fire. That's what should happen. Should be burned in fire for that disgustingness.
But that's nasty.
You're
Why
you're
you think-
nasty.
You're
Look
nasty.
at you.
What
Look
you
at
pointing
you.
at
You
me?
see people
Help
like
me.
you,
Help
yeah?
me,
You see
someone.
people like you,
Come
yeah?
up
You see-
Listen here, son. You fucking pointing at me again. You can't. I'll drop you, alright? Fucking jog on. And you prick.
It should be burned in fire. That's what should happen. Should be burned in fire for that disgustiness.
But that's
You're
nasty. Why
you're
you think-
nasty.
You're
Look
nasty.
at you.
What you
Look at
pointing
you.
at
You see
me?
people
Help
like
me.
you, yeah?
Help me,
You see
someone.
people like you,
Come up
yeah? You see-
Listen here, son. You fucking pointing at me again. You can't. I'll drop you, alright? Fucking jog on. And you prick. Hello?
Well, little old me turned into don't fuck with me. I'm back. Well, that was a long vlog. Sorry about that. It's great to see you back. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, please. And everything else on YouTube things. So, like, we did. So what have we learned? Like it says in this narrative, in this first book, like Noah's like a fish. And he's basically Uranus, which sounds like Janus, who is basically giving humanity all the information, some Phoenician stuff. Okay, whole book full of it. We look at Phoenician antiquity, Tower of Babel, and 1,000 things besides. I got to upload this, guys. It's not going to be ready otherwise for tonight. Peace and love and gratitude to all. If you need me, martinliedtke7@gmail.com for any information, okay, or any shares. Do not be shy, okay. Make sure to comment. Don't be shy. We're a very, very friendly bunch, okay. It's much love and happiness in great Flat Earth British think tank, okay. Very magical thing, as you'll find, okay. See you all soon on the scene, okay. Peace and love to you all. Be good. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.